She founded an architectural concrete company.
He founded a $100 million clothing company.
She took the world by storm as a social media star.
He took the world by storm as a famous serial entrepreneur.
Together we started a business.
And had babies.
Now we're figuring out the best ways to do both.
Join us as we learn from other entrepreneurs going through the same life struggles.
As they share their life hacks about success, love, kids,
and everything in between.
Welcome to the Pretty and Punk Podcast. My name is Dan Caldwell.
And I'm Ildiko Ferenczi.
And this is another episode of the Pretty and Punk Podcast, the podcast for entrepreneurs with kids or thinking about having kids. And we have kids, and it's been a week. It's been quite a week. We're still in the pandemic here. We're still locked down in our house, but it looks like things are starting to open up a little bit.
Slowly but surely.
We have a lot going on in our business. I got to ask you, is it possible for an entrepreneur and a parent to get business done while you have two kids in diapers? I mean, we have two kids in diapers, and I know not everybody, but I mean, no matter what the age the kids are, as you got kids, then lots of times they want attention or, you know, there's not a lot to do, especially in this situation.
Right.
And they're looking for somebody to do something with, and it's weighing on me. I mean, it's really starting to weigh on me. Because I guess I'm feeling because I want to get a lot done, and sometimes I feel like I'm not getting as much done as I was getting, and other weeks I feel like I'm getting more done.
Yeah, 1,000%. Some days, yeah, I agree. Some days we get more done. Some days we get less done.
We're not at each other's throats. We're just sometimes we're a little stressed out because you want to get stuff done, and I feel like I'm trying to get stuff done, and I'm telling you what I'm getting done. And I know you give me a lot of time. You give me, I think, more time than I give you time.
Yeah, think.
I mean, but I'm getting, you know what I'm
Partly
working
because
on.
I'm frightened, because when I'm like, hey, just, can you watch the kids for a second? And then I'll hear one of the kids like bash their heads, and I'll run into the room, and he's like on his phone. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm terrified to leave them. So, but I know, like, we're obsessive compulsive. And when it comes to business, you know, we have an idea, we want to put it in our phone and work on it. And he cheats. Like, I'll hide my phone and I'll be with the kids, and then
well, no, but it's just this situation. I'm not normally like that. Normally, I want to come home. Like, if I've been gone all day, I want to come home and spend time with the kids. But when it's weird because we're in a different, okay, so and we've tried to practice when we're with the kids, we're 100% with the kids. And when we're not with the kids, we're working. But in this situation, it's like you're with the kids and you have to get work done. How do you do that? How do you do both?
Right.
And we found, and I guess what we're kind of trying to do right now is, like, you watch the kids while I try to concentrate and get some work done. And because of what we're doing right now in our business, I'm building a catalog, and I'm taking on most of that right now because I kind of understand how I built the last catalog.
You're in the flow of things,
right.
and you did a really good job. So I'll take the responsibility of being with the kids. And not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's just not my choice. I notice a difference in my son's behavior if I leave him in front of the TV, and
well, we never leave him in front of it, but sometimes we let him watch a few shows.
Yeah. And I feel like if the time limit is over an hour, his personality changes. And I'm like, who is this kid? So and we don't even let him watch bad shows. It's not like he's watching, but he just started to kind of get into Scooby-Doo. And I just feel like the show's not I didn't introduce him to that, but that's okay.
It's one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, because he loves I feel like you're reliving your childhood. So you're introducing all these shows that you used to love.
Every parent does that, though. That's nothing new. I mean, it's like there's something that you like to do, and I want him to like it too.
Right.
I love Scooby-Doo growing up, and there's a new Scooby-Doo that just came out, so it was nice.
But he woke up in the morning and he says, "I had a nightmare."
It can be a little scary. I was watching it and going, "Oh, he's going to be scared when this happens."
Scooby-Doo. Oh my gosh. Yep. Anyway, back to the topic.
No, I just think that when I'm trying to get work done and I feel this like anxiety to
you're different. You're different.
Because it pulls at me.
No, I get it, but you're different. You need like a quiet space. Usually you need to go, I don't know, to a coffee shop so you don't have that right now. So you have to find like a quiet corner in the house.
There's no quiet corners in the house because you're screaming at me.
He has to figure it out. I don't scream. I'm Hungarian. It's passionate talk. I'm Hungarian.
No, but
any
you're not,
European
not yelling,
woman
but you're
or Latina or any passionate, hot-blooded woman, she speaks passionately.
No, but I mean, like when you're like, I need you to watch Daniel. I'm trying to do this with Destiny, and I'm in the middle of.
I'm breastfeeding. I'm breastfeeding, and I don't want him to break his neck. So I don't know what happened.
I just feel like that you could handle that. Wow.
Really? Okay. So she goes down for naps. I have to nurse her to go down for a nap. She's been nursing more than usual, and trust me, what am I going on here? Like over 4 years, 4.5. What? How many years have I been breastfeeding straight? Over 4 years.
About 4 years.
Yeah. So I'm used to it. But when I have 2 kids, it's like I need that quiet time with the one, put her to sleep, and then I can go on to the, dealing with my son. Yeah. So there's
you do a great job. Don't get me wrong. You do a great job. I just feel like it feels like to me that soon as I get on a roll, you're calling me. Like you need my help for something, or you need me to watch Daniel, and not saying that that's wrong. I'm just saying that it's frustrating, and it kind of takes me out of the moment. When I'm really working on something, I'm on a roll, and I feel like I have it. It's like I have everything teed up, and I'm starting to move a little bit quicker.
Welcome to my world, sweetheart. I didn't have kids before Daniel, and I was planning on having nannies and all these angelic helping hands around me. And, he had a little bit of a crazy birth. It was a planned C-section. I knew he was breech. I knew that I was going in for this, but when he came out, he didn't cry, and he came out really peacefully, but there was this very seriousness in the room, and, they were working really hard to get him to cry, and as soon as he came on my chest, I knew that I would not have nannies raise my son. I knew right then and there that I wanted to raise my son myself. I wasn't going to let him go. I didn't think I could have kids for how many years there. I didn't think I ever would have kids. So he was my miracle baby, and I wasn't going to let him go. And then not only that, I wasn't planning on breastfeeding him for more than 6 months, remember? I wasn't going to do that. But your baby decides what he's going to do. And he wouldn't take bottles. And my life had to change very quickly from being independent to I had a baby on my side, like 24/7. So I had to get used to this change of life, this juggle. He came with me everywhere. He had to. I had to bring him to red carpets, events, shoots, interviews, business, because I had to feed him. So I'm kind of used to that. I get used to it.
I get used to it. I get used to it. No, I get used to it. No, and that worked for me because you were having to deal with Daniel, and I was able to get I kind of took up that slack. And so now I feel like because I took up so much slack, I feel, I guess, more in control of the business right now because like I said, I made that last catalog and I was doing a lot. Right. I was building the website at the time. And so because I was having to do that because you were really watching Daniel a lot more.
And doing my other business.
Because you had to.
And
you had to. So I just think that now I'm kind of in that, now being in this, cooped up all together and we're all here and we're all trying to figure out how to get work done. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who have kids who aren't in diapers and, the situation's a little bit different, but it's the same. It's still kids that need attention and you don't want them to just rot away in their room watching television all day long.
Oh, God, no.
And so you're trying to figure out how to maybe spend some quality time with them or get them doing quality stuff while also trying to figure out how to do your business. And I don't know if this happens to anybody else, but I get anxiety. Like it's just not anxiety like I can't work, but just like I feel like when I'm sitting there and I hate this feeling. I feel like when I'm sitting there with Daniel and I'm maybe working on his ABCs with him, I'm thinking about work and I'm thinking about how I want to change something. Like right now it'd be on the catalog, how can I want to do this instead, or I need to go look at my phone real quick because I need to see if this photo came in that I'm having edited right now, or, it's just, and I hate
because it pops up
like
in
that.
Your head. No, I get it. I found myself
I don't want to be like
that way when I first had them. So I feel like I have practice. Whereas before you'd be like, hey, I got to go out. I got to do this for, half a day. And then I think what's been working for us though, and we're still implementing it, is splitting the time up. Obviously, I give, you have a lot more time. I think with 2 kids, though, it's
a little bit different because it's hard to handle. I think there's more going on. So sometimes you're having to spend time with the baby, with Destiny. Yeah. And then other time.
Well, she's more needy, of course.
And then Daniel's, maybe running around asking for somebody to play ball with him.
Now. Yeah, he's so independent now. I feel like
independent.
Well, you have to keep them here.
He wants
you have
to play
keep
with
them
us.
safe. Like you have to keep them safe because he's at this point where you were out.
Well, last year
day,
he fell off a couch because he was trying to jump off the top of it. And
what do you mean last year? Last week?
Well, that happened. It happened
I was
again.
so tired that I had to make myself a matcha latte. I don't drink coffee anymore, but matcha lattes are like life right now for me. So I went to go make a matcha latte and Daniel was like, he jumped off the couch.
Well, not on my shift.
And
that wouldn't have happened.
Okay, but last night he fell and cracked his head. Come on now. Let's.
Yeah, well, that was different. He was walking around. He was trying to be a ghost. He had a pillowcase on his head.
9 p.m. at night, and I was to the point of exhaustion. Like I'm tired by 2 p.m.
No, he had a pillowcase on his head. He was trying to be a ghost from Scooby-Doo, and he didn't have his hands in front of him. So
right, and this was the one.
It's not my fault.
I'm nursing Destiny. I'm like, hey babe, can you watch Daniel for half an hour while I put her to sleep? And then all of a sudden I hear this smash. Oh my God. I'm like, what the? I hate it when they get hurt.
Wasn't my fault.
It's the worst. Anyway, so when he was on my time, yes, I was making my matcha. He jumped off the top of the couch. And his tooth hit his knee, but I heard this crack sound. I thought he broke his leg. Oh my gosh. Just a disaster, but he's fine. Thank God.
Yes.
Thank God. But, things like that can happen. And that's the thing is we, keeping them safe, making sure they're okay.
Yeah.
And also striving to be their best. Like I love to challenge my kids and have them grow. So I really do miss going out and bringing them to our meetings because Daniel, he gets really engaged and he's one of those kids that just observes and he loves to be by our side. And I feel he misses that.
I think what he does is he observes, and when you think he didn't take anything in, all of a sudden he starts talking like we did at the meeting. That's
right. He plays,
and you're like, wow, he's saying all the stuff that we said at the meeting.
Everything we said. Excuse me, I got to take a business call. Mommy, don't. I'm busy. I'm doing business right now. Like, he's so crazy.
I think some of the anxiety I get too is that, especially when I feel like he's not learning and I feel like I've shoved him in front of the television so I could get some work done, that gives me anxiety too.
That gives me anxiety because I don't do that. Like,
I know. And it's not like I'm doing it all the time, but when I do it, I'm watching him and I feel like, hey, I have to get this done because I have to get this, paperwork finished.
We're on a deadline.
We're on some sort of deadline and I have to get it done. What other choice do we have right now? That's what I feel like.
It's the deadline. It needs to be done.
No, but the anxiety comes from doing that to him and thinking that I should be there working on his letters or working on his math. He's been doing really good in math. He's 4 years old and he's starting to add numbers and he's been really good at
spelling words,
or at least the letters and his phonetics. And so I just feel like when I'm not doing that with him and I'm working, but I'm supposed to be with him, like it's my turn to watch him, that gives me anxiety too. And I don't want to say anxiety like I'm frozen. I don't know. I can't think of a better word for it right now. It gives me pause when I'm trying to work and I keep thinking about, oh my gosh, I can't believe have him on the TV right now. He's been watching the TV for an hour. I think that's a lot of people
struggle though. It's like when they're with family, they're thinking about work, and when they're at work, they're thinking about family. I think that's a lot of people's struggle. Really, I do. I hear that. I
love what you said when your mom, who was an entrepreneur, quite the entrepreneur herself, and she would bring you into her jewelry store to have you work in there with her. Like that's. I mean, I like that idea of doing that.
I love that idea.
But it's.
I didn't plan that. I didn't plan on doing that. I didn't want to.
But is that always possible though? Like, is that, I could see in some businesses it makes sense, but and probably more so today, it makes it easier because of the internet businesses and different types of businesses that people might open.
When I saw him in the environment, and I saw how he would just shine. He'd be so happy to be there. And I remember, remember when we were trying to drop him off at daycare and he was so unhappy. Like, he loves being around kids. But when I saw he was more interested to be with us at these meetings and do what we're doing, that point I knew that I had to involve him and bring him.
Well, we wanted to do that as much as possible.
Yeah. So it just, it grew, his personality grew so much in a way that.
In a good way.
Yeah.
And I liked hearing him, I guess you want what makes you happy. You want that for your kids, and you're hoping that he might.
Well, I saw how happy he was.
He might want to be a doctor. He might want to be a race car driver. But
at that moment in his life, he was really interested in talking to adults, and he was just, I don't know, ahead of himself. Like, hi, how are you? How was your day? Yeah, he was so grown up at like 1.5.
Well, I think we both enjoy ourselves as, being entrepreneurs. We've enjoyed our journey as entrepreneurs. And I think we want that same happiness for our kids.
Right.
Although it doesn't always turn out that way.
And if he wasn't interested, hey, he'd be in daycare. But I don't know.
There's a lot of downs too, being an entrepreneur isn't easy.
No.
And, you forget some of the struggles that you go through at the beginning and how hard it can really be. And a lot of people they're not tested for that struggle. It's not an easy thing. There's a lot of people jumping off buildings because of things like that.
Yeah.
And it's, it takes a certain type of person, a certain type of resilience for, and I think that's what an entrepreneur, there's a lot of people that aren't built for it.
No, my mom was an entrepreneur before it was cool. And I know that she didn't have a choice. Like, we had to be there
she's
in the
tough,
business.
Though.
She is.
I get why she was an entrepreneur.
Right.
I understand why she could do it.
But people
she's that type
liked
of person.
her, and they cheered her on. Like, it was unique to see children in that environment. And we loved it. Like, don't get me, I know she had no choice, But, actually, she tried to leave us with the neighbors, and we didn't want to be there. We loved being at the store. I feel like I learned so much.
Well, you had older brothers. You didn't have to be there. You could have went home with your older brothers, and they could have watched you at home.
No, I couldn't. My brother was a huge part of the business. My brother.
Oh, so your mom needed him to work there.
Yeah. So my older brother, he was a huge part of the business. He was so smart. He was always doing research, and they were always, coming up with ideas. And I remember wanting to fit in at a very young age. I wanted my ideas to be like, but my brother was brilliant. He was ahead of his time.
But you were a lot younger. So at that time, probably
but
for your brother.
I wanted that feeling too. I wanted them to think my ideas were important. So I had always be trying to fit in. And I think
Daniel
see that
starts
with Daniel.
to do that. Yeah, he does that because he'll try to bring up an idea.
Yeah.
And he's super headstrong.
Yeah.
Well, there's certain times when. Yeah, I'm trying to tell him, no, we do it this way. And he's just determined to do it his way.
He wants to have the good idea. Oh my gosh. Yes, that was exactly what I would go through. And I loved it. And I learned so much from her. But anyway, yeah, she was an entrepreneur.
I think that's what I like about that process, that if you can involve your kids in your business somehow, a little bit, in some ways.
It gives them a confidence. Like I feel I always had this confidence learning what I learned throughout my life.
And there's probably a lot of things you pick up that you don't really think about. It's like subconscious.
Yeah.
Like you see the effort that your parents take.
Oh, my mom always, like her number one thing
you negotiate like your mom. Like I know you got that from your mom.
But she was so good with people. Like she was always trying to help them solve their problem. I know she sold jewelry, but her ultimate goal was to help people solve a problem, Well,
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people, I believe you said she took in gold and, like as a trade-in. So a lot of people were probably is kind of like, they might have been on hard times and they were coming in trying to turn in that gold so that they could make a little extra cash.
She was really good at getting people to share their life stories. I loved that. I loved listening to that. She was really good at just connecting with people. She was a great businesswoman.
Yeah, I bet I could see that.
I think that those lessons are important. Like I find that rare even today, like for people to care that much about someone coming into their business, to focus on them as a human being and getting to know them and having them become like a part of the family, it's just a feeling sometimes. And I feel like that makes or breaks a business. And those people, those customers, they were return customers and they became like family.
Yeah.
And she did crazy things like, made homemade coffee and homemade pastries and just did a little extra like unique things that made people feel like, wow, she made these Hungarian handmade or homemade pastries, like just little things.
Yeah. And that's good because as kids, you see that and I know you're like this because whenever we go somewhere, you're like, we got to stop and get a bottle of champagne or we got to bring, balloons or flowers, we're always stopping to grab like things that I don't think of. I'm like ready to just show up.
Yeah, my mom was good that
and
way.
You're like, we got to stop. I'm like, but we don't have time.
I just
like,
grew up like that. And my brother was such a gentleman. Yeah, my brother would be the one to bring, flowers or a bottle of wine. He'd pull up my mom's chair. Like, oh my gosh, he was just
that's a good trait. I can see where that is smart.
Yeah.
And it's something.
She worked hard to teach us manners that she went the extra mile and somehow she juggled it all as a single mom. And sometimes I remember, I sit here and I'm like, I got to be able to do this all. Like she did it all.
Yeah, well,
we could do it.
I think you get that because when that rubbed off on you, we want that to rub off on our kids. What we're doing right, not what we're doing wrong. We do a lot of stuff wrong. So what's been working for us? Like when we're trying to trade off like that back and forth. But I mean, I know what hasn't been working for us.
we always plan.
Trying to do both.
Yeah, trying to do both doesn't work. And that's our parent guilt. It's like, oh, we want to just be there and be in the business, be there and be in the business. And it's just, you can't do both. I feel like you have to have like designated times where you guys take turns. If there's an emergency, like not an emergency, but like, if you got to nurse the baby, it's like, hey, can you take time out for a half an hour till I put the baby to sleep? Can you watch Daniel? And then you could get back to your work, and then, vice versa.
Well, I think I think what's worked for us right now is when we're both very considerate of each other's time, or we try to be. And if I say, look, I have to do this. Sure. I have to do this right now. Yeah. And I say, okay, I'll watch the kids. Or you'll say, okay, I'll watch the kids. And if you say that to me, like, hey, I have an interview in an hour. I just want to prepare a little bit.
Please keep them safe. Yeah. Don't let them break any bones. Please.
When have they ever? I'm terrified, I never worry on my shift. I know you get terrified, but they always hurt themselves on your shift. They don't hurt themselves on my shift.
That's not true. Take that back.
That's 1,000% true.
That's not
true. He
true.
fell on his head in Vancouver off the couch on your shift. He fell on his head over here on your shift. Neither of those were on my shift.
What do you mean? You were right there. You could have caught him, you crazy man.
When? No.
Vancouver, you could have caught him. Oh, I didn't think he was going to. You were there.
Yeah, but I wasn't by you. I was doing something else.
Stop. You were watching some
Let's just
Netflix something.
So I was not on Netflix something. We don't even have Netflix there. What are you talking about?
In Vancouver? Yes, we do. You have that guy that took over your Netflix. Oh, somebody hacked our Netflix. And they put a twerky picture. And they what did he name himself?
Han. That might be his real name.
Dan Han.
So now whenever I look at my Netflix, I have to see a picture of him. It's him.
And it's not Dan. It says Han.
I know what happened was, I think when we were at a hotel, I signed into Netflix.
It was like Peaky Blinders you were watching.
And I didn't sign out of Netflix. So he knew how to like change the name. And so they probably watched Netflix on our dime while they were there. And then he went and screwed up and he renamed it his name and then stuck a picture of himself on my Netflix. And I'm so unsavvy with that Apple iTunes. I don't even know how he did that.
He's letting this guy so every time I look at it,
I have to see this guy's face on my Netflix and his name. But
take that back.
That's a whole nother story. So I don't know, but I think that's what's been working.
Tough to juggle
that's what's working for us right now, is that we kind of we're considerate of each other's time. And when I say I have to work, you work. And then some days it's days, it's like, that one day that I was working on the catalog all day because I had to turn it in. I said, hey, I need the whole day. I'm just like,
the last
I
2
got to
weeks,
really put this together and I got to turn in the same day.
Yeah.
And then it's because we have somebody on Upwork working on it. So we're using Upwork, some outside sourcing to get that stuff done. And then I was doing something else. We were also, we're working on affiliate stuff too. And that I really want to push back over to you because I'm not the affiliate person. I don't really like dealing with that. So, and that's kind of you do that for yourself. So you understand that better. I don't know why I'm doing it. You should handle that.
Yeah.
So let's
to.
switch that
for
tomorrow.
Sure.
Okay, you start handling affiliate
stuff.
And so I just think that that's been working well for us. We kind of just point out the time that I need to work, and then I gotta take responsibility for myself. Like it's I need to start draw lines in the sand and say, hey, when I'm working. Because I'm good at that when we're outside of quarantine, but right now we're still in quarantine. And I find myself doing that a lot. I find Daniel going, Dad, look at me. What's he saying today? Look at me, Dad. Dad, look at me.
Like, look at me when I'm talking to you.
What does he get that?
I said, Dad.
Do I say that? I don't know.
I probably. I don't think I say that. No, I say it to him.
Look at me when I'm talking to you.
It just, I want to make sure that he's got his full attention. When I'm telling him something important, I want him to look in my eyes. And I know that you lately haven't been, because sometimes you're really busy and you've got other stuff
just really
going on. Yeah. And this has been since quarantine. Like, I can't complain. It's never happened before, but he's got, like, his wheels are turning. My wheels turn too, but I'll tell him something and he'll be like, you never said that. So now I say to you, I say, Dan, look at me in the eyes right now, because I'm about to tell you something important that I don't want you to forget. Remember this moment.
A 4-year-old.
Yeah. So then I do it to Daniel, and I think that
kidding me.
He just picked up. If I have to hear you say, no, you didn't tell me. So I really want to make a point of, yeah.
So at the end of the day, every parent is just trying to do the best they can.
Absolutely.
And in this screwed up, I hope we're coming out of this. I know we're coming out of this soon. It's like, I think the beach has opened up today.
But at the same time, we gotta look at it this way. Like, it's a blessing. Okay, we're not going to war. We're not getting our arms blown off, our legs blown off. And my heart goes out to anybody that has lost a family member or a loved one during this time. Because, that can't be easy. There's people in the hospital dying alone. There's new moms that don't get to go through postpartum. They have their babies at home, their little newborns, and they have to go to work in the hospital. Some of them are so terrified that they don't even go home to their families. They're staying in a hotel. They're missing those milestones with their babies.
What about those people who have to have their babies by themselves in the hospital?
Yeah.
You can't have anybody there with them. That's horrible.
Yeah.
I just read something about a mother who died on the table.
Oh my God.
Having her baby. I don't know. I'm not sure if the baby lived or not, but how horrible is that?
I didn't even hear about that.
That's so crazy,
just gives
because
me goosebumps. That's horrible.
Yeah, I just can't even imagine that. But I know we're going to come out of this. And you know what? What's great is we're going to be different. Like, we know we're not going to be the same people coming out of this.
That's what I'm trying to tell you is that we're growing a lot as people. People are finding their religion. People are, just getting really connected to different. They're living differently in a good way.
And we're going to come out living differently.
Yeah.
Because I think just even this video conferencing thing. Zoom is like, it's changed people's lives and the way we
you
connect. You
can work from home. Like, I know it's a juggle, but you can work from home. And all those people that are thinking about having, changing their path of life and having an at-home business, this is practice.
Well, it's really opened it up. I read some article about how the airlines were afraid that video conferencing might lower their passenger rate, because people right now are learning to live different. Yeah. So coming out of this, like, I think more people are going to be ordering from Amazon. My parents didn't order from Amazon
I know. I don't feel
before this.
Yeah, I feel like I'm
pre-pandemic. And now they live on Amazon. They don't leave that. Well, they do go to Costco, but it's like a mission. They're like on a SEAL team mission when they go to Costco. But when they're at home now, they're getting stuff from Amazon on a regular basis. So that's something that they wouldn't have done before. So imagine that people change the way that they've shopped. They're not going to shop the same way coming out of this pandemic.
Well, I know a lot of people that are having these big, expensive events. They're just like, wow, it's doing so well online that we're just going to keep it online.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's going to change the way people are.
And it's opening up
that type of business.
Yeah, it's opening up worldwide. It's insane.
We're definitely going to come out of this totally different. We're going to be running our businesses different.
And it also let the world, I feel like everything happens for a reason. So we just have to find the positives in it, because it's also letting the earth breathe for a second.
Yeah, it was nice to look out. We have windows throughout We have a lot of windows. Let's just say a lot of windows.
On every side.
There's more windows than walls, for sure. So we have a lot of windows in our place.
There's no smog. You can see right across the ocean.
Usually we can see a lot of smog. And it's been nice to not.
You can't see
this
Catalina.
Brown layer.
Now we can.
Yeah, this brown
Let's just
layer.
put it that way.
Gone, and it's been nice to see that. But I know that's going to come back, and people are going to get back to normal.
Hopefully not.
Well, it's inevitable. That's just the way it is. It's just we're in Los Angeles. I mean, imagine the people in China what they have to see every day. I mean, with the type of
well, I just hope that people are, going to come out of this stronger and live differently.
They're absolutely going to come out of this stronger. They're changing. I mean, it's anytime you come against something like this, that
some type of hardship.
Yeah, you come out better because you've learned how to deal with certain situations. There's some people it's been a lot harder for, but I think all in all, it hasn't. The truth is, it hasn't been nearly as bad as I thought it could be. I mean, the markets have been stable. We didn't have this major crash, even though people don't have their jobs. There's people losing their jobs and filing for unemployment, and yet the markets have stayed somewhat stable. And I just think that once we go back to work, it's going to be like business as usual right now. I mean, people are going to go back. They're going to get their jobs. They're back at work. Nothing's changed as far as that goes. They're going to go back to work and forget all about this. Other than we're going to have to live different with masks on and
Yeah, exactly. I feel
creating space and, that'll be different. But they're going to come home. They're still going to have paychecks and, landlords have been working with tenants
Thank God.
We have a couple places and, everybody's
trying to help each other.
Yeah, it's just been.
I don't know if it's going to be business as usual.
A lot of negatives
that I don't know, but I do feel everybody's trying to help each other right now, and I see that for sure. That's a beautiful thing, and that's what I mean. I feel like the world is going to be more kind, more loving. I feel like people, families, loved ones, they're going to be different towards each other. Like, life is so precious. But at the same time, thank God, we're not in a war. Something.
Well, we're not in a war on our.
Right. I'm talking about, the things that my mom told me. Right. Where there was
people in the past lived so much harder than we did. And like, for us to even complain about this situation.
The hard part is losing
the real travesty.
The loss of all these lives. That's hard. But thank God there's no, people aren't breaking into your homes and raping your mothers and sisters. Like, those stories from my, grandmother and mother's time. Like, that's.
Well, World War II with the Nazis and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a pretty thing.
Yeah,
and that's real hardship. Thank goodness we didn't have to live through that or the Spanish flu or the Great Depression. The difference, you can just see in the difference between the Great Depression and 2008, not even the same world. People were dying in the streets in the Great Depression. And in 2008, we're just like, some people lost their homes and then, they moved into different homes and they had to rent. It's like everybody recovered. There was people had really tough times. I don't want to put down, I don't want to make light of the hardships that people had to live with during those times, but nothing like the Great Depression.
Right.
So, or World War I or World War II or some of the things that have gone on.
Well, yeah. And my mom coming to this country with nothing. And I think she just wanted to come to a land that there was opportunity and safety. She wanted opportunity and safety. That's why she left everything behind.
And went to Canada.
Well, it was a toss-up between the U.S. and Canada. But
until she read a couple news stories. And
no, she didn't. No, she really loved the beauty of BC. Like, BC was where she wanted to end up. Yeah, like, she was looking at pictures when she was a young girl, and she's like,
the first time I ever saw, I'd heard of Vancouver, but I'd never been there, and the first time I ever looked it up on the internet, I could not believe the photos that you see. Like, it looks like this thumb that comes out that's sitting in the middle of the ocean, and kind of like Manhattan, but without, the dirt and sludge, just like this beautiful like green. Almost, it doesn't even look real. Like, the photos online are incredible. But anyways, I think that every parent is trying to do the best they can, and if they can just try to separate that time with their kids and their work, so that, because I know the one fail that I've had, I'll say I have, is that when I try to do both, it just doesn't work.
And let us know what works for you, because we're still trying to figure it out ourselves.
Yeah.
So let us know what works for you. We'd love to hear your experience, your stories. We love reading the emails and messages.
We'd like to know that other people in the same boat that we are.
Yeah, is it just gravy, or are we just running into all this crazy beautiful
It's crazy
life?
Times.
It's crazy beautiful. Like, how lucky are we that we get to spend all this time with our kids? Like, it's crazy.
That is. I love that part about it, for sure.
Yeah.
So thank you for tuning in with us. We will catch you next week, where we have a great interview coming up. So thank you, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Thanks for listening. Please subscribe. We love you.